Hello, cheers, and welcome to the Scrum of the Earth podcast, your go-to for news, reviews, great interviews, and so much more, all about the world of rugby. My name is David Lawrence. I'm an American rugby fan who follows the game wherever I can find it all over the globe. If you'd like to get in touch, I'm easy to find on all your socials, and you can always just drop an email to the scrumoftheearth at gmail.com. Well, as you have no doubt deduced, this is yet another bonus episode. I am thrilled to welcome back a returning guest. If you're like me, you'll remember seeing his slashing line on the game-winning try in the 2024 MLR final. You might have seen him tearing up trees for Hawke's Bay in the NPC, and most recently, you'll have seen him playing for the Sharks in the URC and in Europe. He's played in the World Cup for Namibia, and frankly, he's just a hell of a guy all around. I'm talking, of course, of the one and only Roux Malan. Roux, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. Lovely to be back on the show.
It's always great to catch up with you. I, of course, want to start with the thing I kind of hinted at, the Free Jacks. The obvious question is, do you miss us? I sent you a pic of the snow event that I was shoveling out of this morning in the driveway. I'm guessing you don't miss that part.
Yeah, I feel a bit conflicted to be fair. Now, thanks for having me first and foremost. It's I've been looking forward to this. It's good to get back to, I guess, my American roots. And yeah, 100% for that reason, I do miss you guys a lot. I see the snow in Boston right now. I think I'd love to do 1 or 2 days there, but I'm enjoying the Durban heat and the South African summer, to be fair.
No doubt. It's my partner's from Texas, and so she still thinks that shoveling's kind of fun. So every now and
Yeah.
then she's like, "Want me to do it?" I'm
Wow.
like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah, that's a privilege, eh?
I am curious that, you obviously enjoyed your success with the Free Jacks. I'm obviously, season ticket holder and a founding member. One of the things that for me makes the Free Jacks a unique organization is that commitment to fun. Like, Mag's always talked about as being one of the top priorities is fun. Um, Other organizations might not necessarily be like that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
100%. It's actually funny you mentioned this because I spoke on it today. I think, and I know now, having played for a few teams all across the world, the Free Jacks definitely do have one of the best cultures in rugby, I believe. I've been privileged to have a cool culture at the Magpies too, but it is different. And I think the setup for the Free Jacks and for the MLR especially, and obviously the people we have in place, in the hierarchy of the Free Jacks. They do such a good job at recruitment and stuff. So the culture is definitely something I miss. I miss the city of Boston as well. I think they add such an element. And I mean, what would the game be without the fans? So Boston's definitely unique in that aspect of people loving their sports and loving their rugby and the buy-in within that. And I think it merges perfectly with the Free Jacks plan and the ethics and I guess the pillars we stand for. So Free
Mm.
Jacks actually have such a unique environment, and I do miss it a lot.
I often talk about how our sort of secret MVP is TK. Tom Kindly means so much to this organization, and can you talk a little bit about TK and the kind of influence he's got with the team?
No, I mean he's a friend to everyone, like TK is always willing to put himself first. Sorry, not himself first. He's always willing to put others first before himself. And I think that's such a special trait of him. He works like crazy, and I think he's the backbone of the Free Jacks, as you said, the secret MVP. He still keeps in comms with a lot of us. I think most of us, to be fair. I've actually spoke to him today, ironically.
Really?
100%. And I just value him as a person. I think he's an all-round awesome person. And as you said, the backbone of the Free Jacks, like such a legend, such a legend.
Well, with him kind of guiding the ship, we've won three championships in a row, but I notice we didn't win any without you there. So should I be a little worried right now?
I don't think so. I think they do such a good job at recruiting. Hey, they'll be 100% fine. And I can't wait to actually watch her as a fan. I think it's going to be super exciting. I'll be jealous, but it'll be great to be able to support.
Well, what did I say? Oh yeah, by the way, it seems to me Major League Rugby has been getting better and better. This was a really rough off season with the teams we lost and stuff, and so there's kind of a mood about this coming season. People are unsure and feel like it's bad signs, but before that, it felt like things were heading in the right direction. The USA's got a couple of World Cups coming. Are we building the right direction? Do you think USA are doing things right? Do you see progress?
I mean, it's really hard to tell, isn't it? It's always a thing of in hindsight, and I think only time will tell. I think Short term, it's tough on a lot of the players, especially the Canadian boys who obviously we filled with the Free Jacks. So yeah, my heart really goes out to a lot of the players and all the staff getting laid off. But in the same breath, I think the combination of it being so American focused now, is just going to strengthen each team. I think there's a lot of pros and cons to it, but I do think long term it might be a great plan. And I mean, I know Mags has just joined the panel, or he just became president, didn't he?
Co-president.
Co-president, and I think they could not have made a better move. I think Mags has a rugby brain, and I think look at what he did with the Free Jacks. So I think it'll be onwards and upwards from here. I think this season will be tough and testing, but in the same breath, I'm very excited to watch. So yeah, I think in 2 years' time we should chat again. But I do think USA Rugby are making strides, which is a good thing to see.
Well, by the skin of our teeth, we did qualify for the upcoming Men's World Cup. Namibia did not. I don't want to dwell on it, but I believe if my info is right, it's the first time in 28 years that they haven't quite made it. That must have been really tough.
Yeah, worst feeling I've ever had after a rugby match. Was heartbroken. I think a lot of those boys put a lot of time and effort in. Unfortunately, just as we discussed, it's very important to have a good structure within like the union. I think Namibia was trending in the right direction, but I think it was a matter of too little, too late, unfortunately. Hopefully, we can survive this 4 year period, and hopefully, we can have another shot at the World Cup. But it is devastating not being able to make it, and in the manner that we did as well, like
Yeah.
lost by 2 points. It's such a shame. I'm heartbroken, but well done to Zimbabwe. Like I play with Tino Mazaveri right now. He's such a gentleman, legend of the game, like such a nice guy. And I think it's good to see other African countries participate, but it would be lovely to have maybe 3 or 4 teams from Africa participate in the competition.
Mm. It seems like Namibia just doesn't get that many tests either. So it's a complaint we often have with USA Rugby. The men don't play very often, and it seems like Namibia are in a similar spot. Is that right?
For sure. I think it's a combination of internal and external factors. I think World Rugby could definitely aid us, and I maybe think a few neighboring countries could aid us and help us in that matter to maybe strengthen Namibian rugby. Because I mean, we do have South Africa, the best rugby nation in the world at the moment, right next door, and I think with the help of SA Rugby, we could be a thriving nation. But I think the other issue is you have 30% odd. I don't know what the stat is to be fair, but a lot of those boys literally work full time and it's really hard for them to get around. So if they could maybe get into professional rugby environments or semi-pro for that matter, even it would help and aid the NRU by a lot. And yeah, hopefully that's something that we can work on. And I think we are trying, but it is such a difficult task. But yeah, you are spot on.
Is that on the agenda for Namibian rugby? Getting full professionalization?
I'm not too sure. I think they've tried, but the transparency is one of the issues we have,
Really?
unfortunately. And yeah, I would love to see some more good appointments, such as appointing Jock Burger. I think he's a real honest and hardworking man, and I think he's been great for Namibia rugby. But as I said, it was a bit of a matter of too little, too late. And we've got guys fighting like Damian Stevens. Who obviously played for Nola, and it would be lovely to see some sort of collective movement, maybe where the players and the staff and the NRU and World Rugby could all collide. I don't know, maybe work towards something bigger than that because this next 4 year period is going to be, or the next World Cup cycle, rather, there's going to be such testing times for Namibia. And one of the issues is we don't play a lot. And it would be good if we could move into a spot like Chile, USA, Canada, where they are facing tier one opposition. I just think that would enhance the game. So I think there's a lot of things to work on, but hopefully they are working behind the scenes.
Well, like I said, I don't want to dwell on what you described as the most heartbreaking game you've ever suffered through, which makes me want to bring it all the way back because I was
Yeah.
there, in Chicago to watch you guys beat San Diego. It was an amazing win. You scored the winning try, running an amazing line that I'll just never forget. I'm such a rugby fan. After that game, when I saw Nanu out there, I tried to go over and say hi to him, and he gave me a look like he wanted to stab me in the heart.
Me too,
But
don't worry.
but talk that must have been one of your favorite days of rugby too. Like that was winning that championship must have been a special day.
Oh, so special. I think it's been a theme in my life where the underdogs prevail, like I've always felt like I've had to prove points, and that was just I don't think a lot of people gave us a chance to win that title. It was so special, man. With the group of people we had, looking back at it once again in hindsight, like it's always going to be one of my favorite rugby days. In the moment, it feels surreal and incredible, but it's not until you can look back at what you've achieved to know how special it was and the group of people, because obviously rugby people come and go the whole time. So you
Mm,
build these short, very meaningful, powerful relationships, but it is very fleeting and definitely something I struggle with within rugby. But it is all the more special because now I have friends all around the world that I can share this memory with, and who knows when our paths would cross again.
sure. The we have so many beloved Free Jacks. You're obviously one of them. Jason Patras meant so much for this team, and it was another heartbreaker where he gets injured. He's out for all this time. He works and works, comes back, presto, it's almost immediately over again. Can you talk a little bit about Potty and the kind of influence he had on the Free Jacks?
Yeah, what a legend. Also, like, I actually went to visit him in New Zealand now. Him and Nicola and Miller were so welcoming. So that's those friendships I talk about, and I think Jace was special in character. I think a lot of boys almost, I don't know, saw him as a great mate and as almost like a dad figure. He think he could take a joke extremely well, but in the same breath, everyone respected him and his craft because I think he's got so much knowledge around the game and also he's a fire starter, he always produced for us and he's got such an interesting style of play, but I absolutely love playing next to him as well. Like such a classy act and even off the field, like loves to get around the boys, loves to I think it was very important for our team culture as well, which was special. But then you see the love he has for his family and how he goes about his work on and off the field, and he's a special guy.
He's he's one of these players that I love because he doesn't necessarily look like a pro athlete. Like if you saw him, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a dad, with his stroller down at the park or something like taking a jog." No, no, no. He's a professional a professional athlete. He's no joke. I love players
Healthy
like that.
too. Yeah.
Finn Russell's a player like that. He doesn't look like he's anywhere near a gym, but he can just do
Yeah,
it.
100%.
Well, after three consecutive championships with the Free Jacks, I was very happy to see you down in the NPC playing for probably my favorite team down there, the Magpies. There seems to be a real connection between the Free Jacks and the Magpies. Obviously, Hinsey was down there. Um, Talk about that experience and how it was different from your time in Major League Rugby.
It's funny. People ask me how I got to the Magpies, and I still have no clue what happened. But yeah, I don't know whether I know there's a link obviously with TK being a Kiwi and knowing Jay, the CEO of the Magpies, and no, it was such a special time. I miss New Zealand just as much to be fair, and it's really funny because I spent 2 seasons there, and the second season a lot has changed in my life, and you look back on your year and realize how much growth there's been, and I think going down the second time and knowing the boys this time around was just all the more special. I've once again met mates that I'll probably cherish for life, and now I've got such a huge crowd of people I can actually watch in New Zealand as well. And it's amazing to know that I've played with a lot of the boys who's played for the All Blacks XV, who's currently in the Hurricane squad and all over, and it's awesome. The culture down there is also really, really special. And of what I've heard in the NPC, it's definitely one of the more special cultures. Everyone says they love the Hawke's Bay boys, and it is real special to play for them, to be able, as a kid, being South African, Namibian, playing in New Zealand wasn't even something I thought of.
Huh.
I actually got some interest from some of the Super Rugby teams, and That to me was just mind-boggling, you know. It's something that I never even put my mind to, and to be able to share my talents that side of the world and to become such close mates with a lot of those boys and be coached by such good coaches and learn a different style of rugby is absolutely awesome, like incredible.
As an MLR fan, I like to see, okay, this team has this style. One of the things I thought was great about the Free Jacks, and especially when Coach Matthew was here, it seemed like it was a different game plan every week. There wasn't a single Free Jack style. We seemed to just be adaptable. But I see a lot of variation in the NPC. You can almost in 5 minutes, if you were colorblind and couldn't tell the jersey, you'd still know that's the Magpies playing because that's the Magpies style. And what do you think about that? Is there more variation in the NPC than there is here?
You know what? I don't think so. I think what made the MLR really special is the fact that there are so many coaches and different players from all over the world. So
Mm.
you have a Scottish or you have an English coach one of the teams, an Australian coach, South African coach, Kiwi coach, and that's all different playing styles from all over the world that they brought with them to the MLR. And you combine all the players being Islanders, whichever nation, playing on the same team. You sort of have to prepare and adapt. And that's why I think you think Scott's methods were different because we had to learn how to attack or defend against line speed, against softer D, up and out, or whatever. And I think that's really cool because you get to learn all of these different styles of play. When I went to New Zealand, it was quite eye-opening and very refreshing to be able to know that I can bring my part from a South African point of view slash Kiwi as well, because I was coached by Ryan Martin, obviously, as well. Which was really cool because I felt like I saw the game a bit differently than they did. But then the room for growth in terms of how New Zealanders grew up playing the game is incredible. I mean, they're the most winningest team ever, the All Blacks. So um, we would go so many times 16 plus phases. I've never ran as much in a game in my life besides my UCT days, which is all running rugby. So it was a challenge, but I loved it because I do think I am sort of at my best when I don't think and I just keep going. So yeah, I picked up a lot from there, but I did also feel that I had a different style of play or ideas that I could bring into the team, which was quite exciting.
Who were some of the players on the Magpies that you were, a big fan of?
Devin Flanders, incredible player. He actually made the All Blacks XV again. He made the Winer training squad for the last game of the All Blacks, which was awesome. I think
Wow.
he'll go really far with his game. Folau Fakatava, such a skillful player. Just around the breakdown and edges, he's so crucial and a snipey, I guess. So
Yeah,
skillful.
he is
Love playing.
dynamic.
Very dynamic. Loved playing next to Nick Grigg, such a good center as well. Honestly, Jonah Lowe is such a good player. Zahn Sullivan. I could go from 1 to 15. I think Newcastle Red Bulls just picked up Ori Rakete Stones. I think he's one to keep an eye on. Like, there's such class players. Honestly, I can go from 1 to 23. I think everyone's got a role to play and so talented.
Yeah. Huh. It's such a fun competition. And I love the NPC because it's like, ooh, there's three All Blacks out there on this today, but maybe not next
Yeah,
week and stuff. And you see that who are going to be the next All Blacks too, like Timothy Tavataba Nawai. I spent 5 minutes watching him, and I was like, black jersey coming that guy's way.
so good. So good. He's electric.
Well, since then, you have now moved on and you're playing with the Durban Sharks, the Hollywood Bets Sharks. I don't know why, it just cracks me up, the Hollywood Bets thing. I'm like, we're not near Hollywood. We're not. Anyway, uh, an up and down team, a really fun team to watch, an absolute murderer's row when you look at just the list of players. Um, Now you've been playing with them in the URC and in Europe. You were part of the huge win over Claremont. Like, what's that experience been like? You're in Major League Rugby, you're in New Zealand, and then you're playing not just in the URC but in Europe. This must have been mind blowing for you.
100%. It all happened within 3 days. I was actually flying back from Auckland, and I got a message. I obviously used to play for the Sharks junior ranks, so I went after school. I played here for 3 years up until under 21, and then I left. Um, so Mike Horak, the guy who does the contracting, he actually messaged me, asked me whether I'm fit and available, and I told him to please call me on Thursday once I'm home. Thursday called me, Friday sent through the contract. I was here Tuesday morning, so. It happened really, really fast. I wasn't expecting to be back in South Africa playing here. So it's honestly still taking me time to adjust and find my feet. Like I only just moved into my apartment last week because I've been traveling a lot in between. Obviously, we've been to Manchester, to Toulouse, Connacht or Galway rather. Just got my car as well, so I finally got some independence this side.
Wow.
So it's a mixed bag. Like don't get me wrong, I feel so grateful to be here. I mean, who would have thought that I would have played Champions Cup, URC at the end of 2026? Like so incredible. And for my career, it does wonders, you know, like I feel so privileged to be able to say that I've played in these comps and that I'm being seen and getting some recognition, you know. It's very interesting being back in South Africa, so close to home, but yet so far. I haven't seen my parents yet. I only
Oh
saw them for a
no.
few days, so hopefully I'll get to see them soon. But it is awesome to be in this culture again. And you know what? The best part is I've come back after 5 odd years, and I look so differently to the people around me and the cultures of South
Hmm.
Africa and South Africa as a whole. And I've got this fresh, beautiful perspective of what South Africa means to me and my life, and Namibia, me and my life, and the cultures I'm surrounded with. And it's so lovely because I feel like I treat people differently, you know. And not that I didn't back in the day, but it just feels so incredible that I can be so open to all the beauty around me, you know. And it is awesome to play in South Africa again with some of the people I used to play with. Getting to play around people who are literally Springboks, like legends already. Learning from them and everything. So it's been incredible. Still finding my feet, but I'm sure in 2 months' time when we chat again, I'll give you even more info on that.
You know, it's funny 'cause I love hearing you talk about sort of your journey and your growth. The first time we chatted on this show, we talked about Parle Boys High School, and I had, doing my little poking around, I discovered their slogan, which is "In time, a shoot will become a tree" in Latin, obviously. And I asked you about that. I sort of said, "Are you a shoot who's slowly becoming a tree?" And you were kind of like, "Yeah, I guess so." And it sounds like you've got a whole lot more branches since then.
100%, you know, and that's the funny thing about rugby is anything can happen at any given moment. So people always ask me what my goals and aspirations are within rugby, and honestly, it's more about staying in the now, you know, and performing how I can and controlling what I can, and then see where life takes me. Like I feel like I'm only 26, turning 27 this year. I feel like I hope I've still got a few years in me. And I'll be blessed if I do. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting to know that I'm here at this stage of my life, you know?
And the players you're around now. I mean, obviously, once again, you can just go 1 to 15 and go on, but Andre Esterhausen, playing with a guy like that, you must be learning things every day. Like, I can't imagine what it's like playing alongside someone like him.
100%. And you look at the performance he put on this weekend against the Stormers and being newly promoted captain, like he's leading by such example and he's just a freak of nature. I mean, the size of the guy is ridiculous. I think a lot of the boys are when they see him, you know. But such a good dude too, is really, really kind and very helpful, you know. So it's really cool to know that rugby is such a humbling sport and that you have all of these guys that's achieved so much. I mean, two-time World Cup winners, we've got heaps of them at the Sharks, and they're all just really humble and friendly guys, you know. And it's so nice to know that you can sit around with them and just have a normal conversation. It's awesome.
Uh, I'm curious, like, as a player, when you're looking at an Andre Esterhausen, like, what is your approach? Do you say, okay, I need to see what I can learn from this guy. This is how I'm going to go about it? Or is it just more of an organic, just being there in the moment and, like discovering you have takeaways later?
Yeah, I think it's different for each guy. I think for me personally, I think what the Sharks have allowed me to do is look back on my time with the Free Jacks, look back on my time with the Magpies, and be able to compare the culture, compare the place, compare so many things, the rugby and everything. And I think learning from someone is one thing. I think maybe you're giving me some ideas to actually go in with that mindset of, oh, I'm here to learn, because sometimes I think you forget that, right? So I'm being
Mm,
surrounded by these people, you always sort of get used to it. And I think it's not something that should be taken for granted. But yeah, I think it's definitely a matter of learning. I think I'll one day reflect and be okay, I maybe picked up this and this. And looking
mm,
back, I can name a few players that I've already learned from, you know? So for me, I think it's more organic. I think for other guys, they probably feel a bit differently.
interesting. Well, you're kind of a nomadic rugby player. It's kind of been the story of your career. Is that something you still enjoy, or you talk about being in the moment and growth. Are you able to be like, this is where I am, and I'm going to make the best of this? And do you love having all these very different experiences?
I think there's pros and cons to it. But with everything in life, there are pros and cons to it, right? So I think it's what you make of it. I'm definitely an optimistic person. So for me, being back in South Africa and yeah, as you said, being a nomad, I had a very trying year last year at the beginning of the year, going back to Boston and stuff, and I managed to make it work and. I left in tears. It was really hard to leave Boston. I've met some incredible people there. Um, so to be able to compare to that experience, knowing that I'm here in this moment right now, like with such a bright future and people around me, you know, like well, hopefully a bright future, but to have people around me and play for the Sharks is already amazing in its own. And I one element I do struggle with is the non-permanency, you know.
Mm,
Um, it's really hard for me to build these meaningful connections with people and then move on. But on the other end of it, I do have it all around the world, you know. I've got these people, my best mates is sitting in New Zealand now. Like it's very interesting. And I'm definitely a thinker and I think about these things a lot, you know, but I am so privileged to be able to bring my perspective and speaking to people and then telling me, look, you've lived this crazy life within rugby. Not a lot of people have taken your route, and it's awesome and it's such a cool experience. It keeps on reminding me that it is an incredible experience that I've had, and I know that I am so much more cultured, I guess, and wiser for it. And I'm really grateful for that for sure. And it's awesome to be close to home, you know. I'm a flight
mm.
away from parents, a 2 hour flight, which is incredible.
That's great. Well, you mentioned, being seen with a team like the Sharks on a high-profile stage like the URC, like in Europe. You had a great highlight in one of these games too, where you were flying out of bounds to save a ball that was going into touch. You got it back in, and they must have shown that highlight 3 or 4 times throughout the rest of the game, and they kept talking about it. So you are being noticed. I mean, I don't think you sit down and watch the rebroadcast immediately after you played a game, so you might not even know that, but people are talking about you.
Thanks, Deb. I appreciate that. And it's been interesting because I haven't played 12, which is obviously my main position. So it's been great having I mean, any game time at the moment is good time, you know. So it's been awesome being able to diversify my arsenal, I guess. Playing 13 and playing wing, it's been great and it's been challenging, but it's awesome for me to know that I've got the ability to do that and it makes me a lot more marketable, you know. And I'm always willing to help the team wherever they need me. So it's really cool.
I'm curious. You mentioned the Springboks are the best team in the world. I think they're ranked number one. I feel pretty sure. I'm not looking at it right now, but it seems to me that the eye test also tells me they are the best team. I feel like a big part of that isn't just the players. It's at the top. It's Rassi. What it also seems like Rassi is the only rugby coach who's actively innovating all the time. It seems like the general default of most coaches is to be conservative, to not try new things, to just try to stick to simple basic game plans. Rassi is always mixing it up. Why don't other coaches do that? It seems to me that Rassi is the greatest coach because of that willingness to say, well, what about this? What about this? What if we tweak this? What if we add this wrinkle? And I just don't see other coaches doing that. Why is that?
I think Rassi's got a lot of people under him that work really well too. I'm sure you've heard of Tony Brown and how the All Blacks are seeking him for well, according to media, him for the head coach role. But I don't know. I'm actually busy reading his book right now, so I'll get back to you afterwards. But
Yeah.
from what I've heard from the Springboks, like a lot of them say that he demands excellence, and everyone knows that he's the leader of the group, and he demands respect within everyone. And obviously, what he's done for South African rugby has been incredible. I also think his methods of testing and trying and trial and error and everything helps the team a lot. Yeah, but I think all the leagues in the world are so different, So I think
Mm.
it requires a certain style of play wherever you go. And I think the fact that South Africa are playing in Europe, sorry, South African teams at the national level, that they play sorry, rather domestic level, that they play internationally, that they go to Europe in the comp like the URC or Champions Cup helps and aids them a lot. And I think the law that South Africans who play abroad are allowed to play for South Africa is also definitely an advantage point. You look at New Zealand,
Mm.
they have those laws in place where you can't play abroad and play for the country. And I think that definitely helps South Africa learning all over. I think similar to my experience of learning different like ways of rugby, bringing that back into camp and being able to feed off of each other is definitely aids the Springboks.
Yeah, a lot of the experts I've spoken to talk about how consistency is the most important thing when you're looking for rugby success. The ability to play with the same people over time is what builds the glue that really adds strength, which is a problem in Argentina when they're scattered all over the place. It's a problem for USA Rugby when our best players are all over the place and it's hard to get them all together. South Africa definitely seem to have an advantage like that. The Springboks you see in an international test are the front row from one of the teams you were just watching in the URC. It must be great to have that consistency.
For sure, for sure.
So, what is next for you, by the way? Where do you want to be? Is there any chance we'll see you back in a Free Jacks uniform at some point? I know with the rules changes this past off season, that's it's going to be a lot more difficult for international players to get in here. Do you feel impacted by that, or
Um, yeah, I haven't put thought to that. As I just mentioned, I'm definitely someone who lives in the now, and rugby, anything can happen at any given moment. I've been proof of that for all of my life within rugby, and my life has changed like that. So. I've definitely thought about coming back to Boston at whichever stage of my life, and I would love to. Obviously, I love the Free Jacks, and Boston became like a second home to me. And that is obviously due to the Free Jacks, I miss it a lot, I really do, and I would absolutely love to wear the Free Jacks colors again. I'm definitely putting that like it is in my subconscious, like it's something that I'll definitely think of when that time might come. Maybe at a later stage of my career, but as I said, it can go anywhere. But I definitely love to be back at the Free Jacks again for sure.
well, we miss having you here. I'm not the only fan of yours here. I feel like it's a privilege for me to get to see you week in and week out. I watched you all NPC season, and now I get to see you with the Sharks. Um, it's it's a joy, and I really appreciate the fact that you've carved out some time just to chat with me because it's always a huge privilege.
Yeah, no, I've looked forward to this. As I said, it means a lot to me as well. It's good to get back to my American roots. And as I said, I'd be supporting from afar, always.
Yeah. The the Rassi thing, the last thing I have in my notes is it's funny. I don't know if you care about the NFL. The
Yeah.
success the Patriots had here with Bill Belichick, it reminds me of the same thing. Rassi is like a Belichick type figure who's like, huh, I see a hole in the rules. Maybe I'll exploit it. And then everyone goes, hey, he's cheating. And well, if the rule doesn't work, fix the rule. And it's weird to me that more coaches in rugby don't seem to do that. I support Scotland. I support USA first and then Scotland. And Gregor Townsend is the best example of that to me, of somebody who is like, I will never innovate as long as I live. I have a commitment to mediocrity, and I find it infuriating.
I agree. I agree. As player, you want to see a bit of change, especially the game evolves, constantly evolves. If you look at all the trends and traits of rugby, it's not just it doesn't always just change in one direction. It's repetitive as well. Like it goes back into maybe a poaching game or whatever, over the
Mm,
years. And I do think you have to adapt. And what I know of Rassie is he's a rugby fanatic, and I think he obviously loves the game. So I think there's always ways about going. And I think I listened to a podcast once where they mentioned that if you are passionate about what you do, you're in such a privileged position, And I think myself, knowing that I am very passionate about sports in general, playing rugby, it doesn't feel like a job. And I think that's where maybe the innovative ideas come from.
mm,
Mm.
interesting. Well, Roux Malan, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate your time. I'm so enjoying watching you play. You're just one of my favorite players. I hope to have you back here at some point. Maybe we'll see each other at the Free Jacks winter party again, but I won't do the shoveling for you.
No, I think I'm planning to come back hopefully at the end of the season or something. We'll see. We'll see whether I find the time, but I'd love to come and visit. I need to say a few proper goodbyes. It's
Mm,
hard to leave and leaving it open-ended, not knowing whether I'm coming back. So hopefully I'll be supporting at Veterans Memorial at Fort Quincy, which would be awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for having me. It was absolutely awesome.
absolutely. You are a scholar and a gentleman. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. All the best of luck. I can't wait to see you playing again. And my priority is to see you scoring a try soon. I thought we were close the last few weeks, so I
Yeah,
feel it coming. It's coming.
mine too. Mine too. Thanks, Dave.
Bye bye for now. Peace.
Cheers.
Be well,
Bye
my
bye.
friend.